Please be seated. Nice. This morning's gospel reading is from John chapter 12, verses 1 through 8. 6 days before Passover, Jesus entered Bethany, where Lazarus, so recently raised from the dead, was living. Lazarus and his sisters invited Jesus to dinner at their home. Martha served. Lazarus was one of those sitting at the table with them. Mary came in with a jar of very expensive aromatic oils, anointed and massaged Jesus' feet, then wiped them with her hair. The fragrance of the oils filled the house. Judas Iscariot, one of his disciples, even then getting ready to betray him, said, "Why wasn't this oil sold and the money given to the poor? It would have easily brought 300 silver pieces." He said this not because he cared 2 cents about the poor, but because he was a thief. He was in charge of their common funds, but also embezzled them. Jesus said, "Let her alone. She's anticipating and honoring the day of my burial. You always have the poor with you. You don't always have me."
Gotta get wired for sound here. Is that working? Hello? A little louder? How's that? You got one now? Am I on this one? No. No? Okay. Ah. The on button is on the top, not on the side. Okay, how's that? Louder? Okay, louder. My teacher voice. Move the microphone in front of the mouth. That will help, yes. I think my head's too big. Anyway, so if we could go to the next slide, no, the one after that. Anyway, I don't know if you can read this very well, but essentially what this is an announcement that came through on my email from the New York Conservancy for Landmarks, New York's Landmarks Conservancy. Every year for the past 15 years, they've been having a Sacred Sites open house. We've participated in about, I think, 3 of them. This year, Carrie is going to be leading the group and obviously would be looking for help on this. But I just wanted to share a few of the things that we did in previous workshops. If we go to the next slide. What you can't read across the top very well is it says a brief history of the Sayville Congregational Church, and then the next one. So, starting in 1858, the original church building was on this site, by the way, was moved up Railroad Avenue, and it's part of a store that's up there now. And from 1848 to 1888, we go to the next slide. So the Reverend Thomas Douglas became pastor in 1897. He conducted a revival, 1887, and he conducted a revival and doubled the membership and called for a new building. 34-year-old member and builder Robert Nuns sketched a design and formal plans were drawn up by his friend and local architect, Isaac H. Green, Jr. Now, it turns out that the year we did this, I think was either 2017 or 2018, the featured theme was architects. And it turns out that Green also designed the Patchogue Methodist Church and St. Anne's, all more or less in about the same time period. So we had people coming through that were looking at all three of the churches of his work. Next slide. So plans were approved in mid-August, and construction began with Robert Nuns as boss builder, and a projected estimate of $10,000. Cornerstone was laid on Thursday, October 11th, and that's a picture of the cornerstone, the bottom of which is now pretty much buried under vegetation out here, but we're hoping to get it re-exposed for our open house. And the inscription on the trowel, and the trowel, I guess you know, is out here in the hall if you want to take a look at it, presented to Mr. Willett Green on the occasion of his laying the cornerstone of the Sayville Congregational Church, October 11th, 1888. Next slide. Church was completed in 1889, final cost of $14,750, 6,500 of which was secured by a mortgage. In 2018 dollars, which is when this was, that we made the presentation, that's about $373,000 and $165,000 for the mortgage. So still a bargain. And you can notice some interesting things here. You'll notice that the sides of the tower are dark, so they apparently were not painted. And also we can see what is now the church office building, which probably was the parsonage then, although I'm not sure, didn't have that addition on the side, which is the storage room. But this is a pretty early photograph. Okay, we'll go to the next one. This was actually, I think the second or the third open house that we did that was featuring music and the organ. So here's a photograph of the way the church was originally, and you can see that the organ pipes were back here, and we go to the next one. We can see, well, you can't read it, but it says, we can tell it's a pretty early photograph because you can still see the original modern 1888 gas lights were still there, here and here. They were right about there and there. By the way, we still have one of those gas lights. If you go out the back door over there and take a look to your right, there's still the remains of one of those gas lights. It doesn't have the globe anymore. The other thing that's kind of interesting is that there was, because the choir was back here, and I don't know if you can, well, you can't see it here, but there was a door right here, and the choir members would come in, go through the door, through a little hallway, and then they would emerge through another door that was right about here, and there was a brass rail that went all the way across, and this was a solid wall underneath it, and a curtain so that when the choir members were sitting on either side, you can see the organ console was in the middle. Choir members were seated on either side. They weren't visible. And then, of course, they would pop up from behind the curtain and do their thing. So they didn't have the problem of us trucking up and trucking back and so forth. But at any rate, so this configuration with the organ moving over to the side, this organ chamber was added on in the 1950s or 60s, I believe. And the organ moved there, and the console over here, and the stained glass window, et cetera, put in. Anyway, go to the next one. So another one of the themes, the third one, was on stained glass. And so we featured our window in the back, which most of you are familiar with. And we think that this is a Tiffany window, but we don't have any documentation of that. And we'll go to the next one. And that covers the 7 windows across in the back. floor windows, Good Shepherd, were given by various members, and also it points out that Robert Nuns, the boss builder, each contributed $500 to pay off the mortgage, and original contributors included Isaac Green of $200 and William K. Vanderbilt of Meadowcroft, just over the creek, who was a member of St. Anne's and a big contributor there, but he managed to put in $250 for us. Anyway, let's go to the next one. So other windows on the west wall were dedicated to the memory of members who over the years made major contributions to the life and well-being of the church. And of course, you know, we've got our old friends, Burt Redline and Alphina Johnson. Let me make sure I don't shoot you in the eye there. And we've got Arden and Lil Meaves are over here. And of course, here's Robert Nuns, boss builder Robert Nuns. I made some interesting discoveries about Robert Nuns over in Union Cemetery, but that's a story for another day, so we'll save that for another time. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, the next one is blank because I need to tell you about the other thing that was tied in with these open houses, is that the Landmarks Conservancy had a program where they invited people to come into the city for a workshop, which I attended, and basically it was how you can utilize your assets, your property, to support the church over long term. Basically, it was for city people, city congregations, and they were talking about things like selling the air rights over your building so you could build a skyscraper above your church, and they actually had, this has actually been done, or selling off your church building, having it torn down, selling the property, and then building a new church somewhere around the corner on a cheaper piece of property, etc. None of this appealed to us too much, but they did have a really wonderful book on how to do it, you know, and it has lots of very well illustrated how to enhance yourself, et cetera, et cetera. The bottom line that came out of this was that they also are the gatekeepers for doing grants from the Gardner Foundation. Now, one of the problems with the Gardner Foundation, and I've had prior experience with them, is that when they first formed, they were getting burned a lot by people who were taking their money and not doing the things that they said they were going to do with it. So Gardner Foundation has become very stringent as to how they distribute their money. As far as the Landmarks Conservancy distributing Gardner money, they demand that you first have, if you want improvements on your building, a building conditions report. So this is something that we engaged in a year ago, and we just got the preliminary results of the building conditions report. And the thing I can tell you that's fortunate is that it's not going to fall down immediately. The other thing that they pointed out is that we've got a lot of problem from water damage. And I don't know if you noticed that occasionally we get water dripping through onto the media console back there and various places around the building. So we're working on that. But if we go to the next slide, this just gives you an example of some of the problems that we have. This is right outside of the on the east side of the bell tower, and you can see that we've got like rot in the sills, we've got paint peeling off, we've got mold, we've got windows. Let's go to the next one. And we've got like a broken storm window, and we've got a missing storm window where the windows are kind of deteriorating and water has come down and caused the paint to peel off here. It's a lot of little things. So we're working on various projects to either do ourselves, hire somebody to do, or put off for a major fundraiser that needs a lot of money. So basically that's kind of where we're at as far as the building goes and what we're working on. Anything else you would like to know? See me at coffee hour.
Thank you, Hank. At this time, we welcome your offerings and invite you to place your prayer and information cards in the plate as we sing our church covenant.
In response to God's love, we covenant with each other to be faithful to the demands and inspiration of the eternal Spirit revealed in the event of Jesus Christ, to accept and respect each other with love and concern in our worship and witness, to reach out with the courage of our convictions in the cause of justice, liberation, and equality for all. In this we covenant to keep the ultimate promise. I care, I am with you.
As we go forth to bear good fruit, may God be with us in our hunger and thirst. May our ears be ever inclined, listening for the good news. May praises be on your lips, even in the bleakest valley. And may God of peace equip us with every good thing to carry out God's desire for the world. Amen.